A new era for the store. Serena Blake was not an ordinary woman sitting in the outdoor plaza of a bustling urban shopping center. She watched the passers-by with a keen but discreet eye. Dressed in simple jeans, a plain white t-shirt, and a pair of worn-out sneakers, nothing about her appearance suggested that she was the new owner of the luxury boutique she was about to visit. Her curly hair was tied back in a practical bun, and she wore a pair of sunglasses to shield herself from the excessive glare of the store windows. Serena had learned early in life that appearances can be deceiving, and those who judge by the exterior are always one step behind. Raised in a modest neighborhood, Serena knew what it felt like to be underestimated. The daughter of immigrants, her parents worked low-wage jobs, but always emphasized the importance of standing firm and never apologizing for who she was. Years of sacrifice, study, and hard work led her to become a successful tech entrepreneur, accumulating victories in the retail innovation market and becoming a reference in transformation. Serena had a strategic eye that saw beyond numbers. For her, every business was an opportunity to defy expectations and break barriers. But there, in that plaza, Serena wasn't just there to observe. She was on a mission to uncover the truth about the boutique's operations. She had heard whispers from industry insiders about the store's elitist culture, and as the new owner, she was determined to root out any practices that clashed with her vision of inclusivity. Her heart raced with a mix of anticipation and resolve, knowing this visit could set the tone for the changes she planned to enforce. But there, in that plaza, Serena wasn't there to flaunt her achievements. She was there to experience the customer journey firsthand, and for that, she needed to be seen as just another person. She wanted to ensure that every detail of the shopping experience met her expectations as the new owner. However, she wanted to see the store's true operation without filters or special treatment that her position might attract. As she stood up, Serena straightened her shoulders and walked toward the boutique. The windows gleamed with carefully selected pieces displayed on mannequins that seemed to float above marble pedestals. Upon entering, she was greeted by a blast of air conditioning and the soft sound of background music. Serena stepped forward, analyzing the impeccably organized aisles and the shelves filled with clothes that blended elegance and boldness. That's when her eyes met Elliot's, the manager. Elliot was a 47-year-old man with perfectly combed back gray hair, wearing a well-fitted gray suit and a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. He watched her suspiciously, as if Serena were an anomaly in the carefully orchestrated setting of his boutique. She ignored his gaze, focusing on the products, but she felt the weight of his presence with every move. Elliot was known for his dedication to the boutique's standard of excellence, which to him meant catering only to clients who clearly displayed signs of wealth. Serena's presence, with her simple and understated look, didn't fit that mold. He pressed his lips together, crossed his arms, and continued to watch her from a distance, observing every gesture with more attention than necessary. Serena picked up a long silk dress, pretending to inspect the fabric while glancing around. Some employees kept their eyes glued to their tablets, too busy with inventory to notice her. Others were absorbed in casual conversations, commenting on new arrivals or making style recommendations for the few customers who walked in. Serena was there to absorb every detail that could help her transform that boutique into something more than just a luxurious space. As she moved through the aisles, Serena overheard a hushed conversation between two employees near the cash register. "Did you see her?" one whispered, nodding subtly towards Serena. "She doesn't look like she belongs here. Elliot's gonna have a field day." The other chuckled softly, unaware that Serena's sharp ears caught every word. Her jaw tightened, but she kept her composure, filing the moment away as evidence of the toxic culture she needed to dismantle. Elliot, however, never took his eyes off her. He watched as Serena picked up another dress, this time a short one with embroidered details. Without missing a beat, he approached her, his rigid posture betraying his disapproval. "Can I help you with something?" Elliot asked, his voice dripping with forced politeness. Serena smiled softly, putting the dress back in its place. "I'm just browsing, thank you." Elliot narrowed his eyes and paused for a moment before responding. "Sure, but please be careful. These dresses are quite expensive and delicate. We wouldn't want any damage, you understand?" Serena raised an eyebrow, surprised by his condescending tone, but decided to keep her cool. "I understand perfectly, don't worry." Elliot continued to shadow her as she explored the boutique. Serena moved toward a section of designer bags and began touching one, assessing the quality of the material. Elliot, now closer, crossed his arms and watched her, like a predator waiting for the right moment to strike. "These bags are made with genuine Italian leather," he said, almost as a warning. They cost over $2,500, 0 cents each. Serena nodded, unfazed by his comment. They're beautiful. The leather feels really nice. Elliot stepped forward, partially blocking Serena's view, as if to reassert his control over the situation. Maybe you'd be interested in something from the sales section, he suggested, pointing to a discreetly hidden corner in the back of the boutique where last season's items were discounted. Serena looked where he pointed and then back at Elliot, her smile remaining but her eyes hardening. I prefer to look at everything if you don't mind. Elliot took a deep breath, clearly annoyed. I'm only trying to help you find something more suitable, he said, his tone now laced with a subtle challenge. Our clientele here is very particular and we strive to maintain a certain image. Serena's smile didn't waver, but her voice took on a sharper edge. I appreciate your concern, but I'm quite capable of deciding what's suitable for me. The air between them crackled with tension, and for a moment Serena thought she saw a flicker of unease in Elliot's eyes, but he quickly regained his composure, stepping back with a curt nod. By now, other boutique employees had noticed the awkward atmosphere and exchanged uncomfortable glances, but none dared to intervene. Serena, on the other hand, remained focused on her goal, moving from one section to another while feeling the growing weight of Elliot's hostility. When Serena approached the jewelry section, Elliot lost his patience. He followed her closely, his presence practically glued to hers, and when Serena touched a pearl necklace, he abruptly interrupted her. Excuse me, but I really need to ask you not to touch the items unless you intend to buy, Elliot said, raising his voice. A few nearby customers stopped to watch, drawn by the tension. These pieces are extremely expensive, and they're not for everyone. Serena slowly let go of the necklace, keeping her composure. I was just looking. Or maybe looking from a distance would be better, Elliot insisted with a sharp smile. That way, there's no risk of damaging something you can't afford. Serena took a deep breath, feeling the humiliation creep over her skin, but she didn't lose her poise. She looked around, noticing that all eyes were on her. She could feel the judgment, the discomfort, the veiled indignation. Serena had never felt so exposed, in a situation where, ironically, she was the one in control. Is this how you treat all your customers, or am I special? Serena asked, her voice low but cutting. The question hung in the air, and Elliot's smile faltered. A murmur rippled through the nearby customers, and Serena could sense their curiosity intensifying. She pressed further, her tone calm but deliberate. Because if this is the standard of service here, I can see why the boutique's reputation is, let's say, under scrutiny. Elliot's face reddened, his composure cracking. I don't know what you're implying, but I assure you we maintain the highest standards. Perhaps you're not familiar with how things work in a place like this. His words were a thinly veiled insult, and Serena felt a surge of anger, though she kept it tightly controlled. Are you sure I can't take a closer look? Serena softly provoked, determined to test Elliot's limits. After all, that's what the jewelry is here for, isn't it? Elliot's expression hardened, now clearly irritated. I'm going to be honest with you, ma'am. If you're not here to buy, you better leave. This boutique isn't a place for people who just want to look. We maintain a high standard, and we need to make sure our customers really belong in this environment. We don't want to waste time. Serena felt a knot form in her throat. She knew she had faced prejudice before, but Elliot's arrogance was of a particularly vile nature. He didn't see her as a potential customer, a human being, but as an intruder disrupting his ideal of perfection. Got it, Serena replied calmly, trying to contain the anger threatening to overflow. I think I'll take your advice and leave. Elliot smiled, satisfied. He stepped aside, clearing a path for Serena. Other customers and employees continued to watch, murmuring among themselves as Serena walked toward the exit, her mind already plotting what she would do next. As she reached the door, Serena paused, turning back to face Elliot. One last thing, she said, her voice carrying across the boutique. You might want to rethink how you define belonging. It could save you a lot of trouble in the future. The words landed like a quiet bombshell, and Elliot's smug expression wavered as Serena stepped outside, leaving a trail of whispers in her wake. Outside, Serena found her lawyer waiting patiently. So, he asked, noticing Serena's stern expression. The boutique needs a drastic change, starting with the manager, Serena replied, regaining control of her emotions. But first, let's make sure he understands exactly who's in charge here. The lawyer nodded, and together they walked back to the boutique. Serena took a deep breath before entering again, this time with a confident stance, determined. Elliot saw her return and frowned, confused. I thought you had left, Elliot said, still with a tone of disdain. Serena's lawyer stepped forward, facing Elliot firmly. Good evening, sir. I'm the attorney for the new owner of this boutique, and I'm here to introduce Serena Blake, the woman you just kicked out. Elliot's expression froze. The victorious smile that had once adorned his face vanished instantly, replaced by a pallor that spread like a chill. Elliot stammered, unable to articulate a coherent response. Serena kept her gaze fixed on him, in no hurry to speak. She was in control now, and there was nothing more Elliot could do to reverse what he had started. She stepped forward, extended her hand, and calmly removed her sunglasses, revealing her cold and firm eyes. I'm the new owner, Serena stated, her voice low but filled with authority, and I'm here to ensure this boutique is a place where everyone feels welcome. It seems we'll start by making some important changes, starting with who's in charge. Elliot tried to mutter an excuse, but Serena raised her hands, stopping him. The only thing I expect to hear from you is your resignation, now. Elliot stood frozen, the color draining from his face. He knew he had lost, and worse, he knew he deserved it. Serena remained calm and turned to the other employees, observing each of their expressions. She knew some might be relieved, others worried, but everyone now understood that the time for hasty judgments was over. Before I go any further, Serena said, addressing the stunned employees, I want to make one thing clear. What happened here today isn't just about one person's mistake. It's about a culture that's been allowed to fester. One that judges people by their appearance rather than their worth. I've experienced that judgment my entire life, and I refuse to let it define this boutique any longer. Her words hung heavy in the air, and she saw several employees shift uncomfortably, some nodding in silent agreement. She was there to redefine not just the business, but what it represented. As Elliot gathered his things, Serena was already thinking about the next steps, knowing that this was just the beginning of a long journey to transform that boutique into a true symbol of inclusion and respect. Serena felt the eyes of all the employees fixed on her as Elliot, still stunned, left the boutique carrying his box of belongings. The silence that settled was heavy, full of uncertainty and fear of what was to come. Serena knew that the impact of her abrupt entry as the new owner would be felt in many ways, and that was exactly what she wanted. Every step she took inside, every decision was to ensure that this space reflected the values she believed in. And she looked around, observing the expressions of the employees who were now waiting in a mix of apprehension and curiosity. Good evening, everyone, Serena began, her voice firm and clear. My name is Serena Blake, and as some of you already know, I am the new owner of this boutique. There was a light murmur among those present, and Serena noticed that some faces brightened, while others still held on to suspicion. I understand that this is a time of change, and that change can be uncomfortable, but I want you to know that I am here to build something better with all of you. Serena paused, letting her words settle. My priority is to ensure that this boutique is not just a place to sell expensive clothes, but a space where everyone feels respected and valued, customers and employees alike. She noticed some employees nodding discreetly. Serena knew that the environment wouldn't change overnight, but her goal was to plant the seed of change in that first meeting. Now, let's take a little tour, Serena continued, gesturing for everyone to follow her. I want to hear from you what's working, what isn't, and where you think we can improve. As she walked through the boutique, Serena asked direct questions to the employees, seeking to involve them in the process. Leela, right? Serena addressed a 24-year-old woman who was in the accessories section, nervously adjusting items on the shelves. Leela nodded quickly. Tell me, how is it working here? How's customer service? Serena asked. Leela hesitated for a moment, but decided to speak. Well, it's a good place to work, but... She looked down, as if weighing whether she should continue. Serena noticed and encouraged her with a nod. Service can be tough. Elliot, he had a very rigid approach. We only served who we thought was worth it, you know. Serena nodded, absorbing the information. I see. Thanks for sharing, Lila. I want that to change. I want every customer, regardless of how they dress or where they come from, to feel welcome here. Can we count on you to help with that? Lila smiled, looking more relaxed. Of course, Miss Blake. I think everyone here would like that. Serena continued her tour, talking to other employees and hearing similar stories about the tense atmosphere Elliot had cultivated. At one point, she paused near the shoe section, where an employee hesitated before speaking. Miss Blake, if I may, the employee said nervously. Elliot wasn't the only one who pushed us to prioritize certain customers. Some of us, we were trained to think that way, and it's hard to unlearn. Serena's eyes softened, but her resolve remained firm. I understand, and that's why we're here, to unlearn those habits together. But make no mistake, this change is non-negotiable. The employee nodded, visibly relieved by Serena's empathetic yet firm response. At the end of the tour, Serena gathered everyone in the central area of the boutique. The initial discomfort was beginning to dissipate, replaced by growing curiosity about what would come next. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts with me today, Serena said. As you can imagine, there will be some changes ahead. I don't want you to see this as a threat, but as an opportunity to be part of something bigger. We will review our customer service training, update our policies, and most importantly, create an environment where everyone can thrive. She looked around at the faces, trying to capture the reactions. Serena felt that she was starting to gain the team's trust, but knew she would need to prove her intentions through consistent actions. Starting next week, we'll begin training sessions focused on diversity, inclusion, and customer service. I want each of you to feel prepared to handle any situation that may arise and to know that we are all on the same team. One of the employees, Nathan, who had been with the boutique for 12 years, raised his hand. What about Elliot? Nathan asked. He was always very demanding. How are we going to deal with that? Serena smiled slightly, recognizing the concern behind the question. Elliot is no longer part of the team, as you saw. She paused, carefully choosing her words. I believe we all have something to learn from what happened today. This boutique needs new leadership, and I am here to guide that transition. I'm counting on all of you to help us build a better place together. With the initial instructions given, Serena dismissed the team to return to their activities, but not before making it clear that her door would always be open. She wanted to be an accessible leader, someone the employees could approach without fear of reprisal. After everyone returned to their stations, Serena withdrew to the office in the back of the boutique. She sat down at the desk, opening her laptop to review financial reports and employee performance evaluations. Serena knew she would need to be prepared to face administrative challenges as intense as the emotional ones. As she read through the report, Serena reflected on the impact of her own past experiences. She remembered the times when she had been rejected or poorly treated in similar boutiques, simply because she didn't look like a typical customer. Each incident had reinforced her commitment to create something different. To her, this boutique wasn't just a business. It was a chance to set an example, to show that respect and dignity are not privileges but basic rights. Serena then drafted an email addressed to all employees, formalizing the changes they discussed and detailing the new processes to be implemented. She also included an invitation for any employee to come to her personally with suggestions or concerns. It was important to Serena that everyone felt part of the renewal process. As she finished the email, Serena heard a light knock on the door. It was Layla, who entered timidly. Miss Blake, I just wanted to say thank you. I think a lot of us have been waiting for someone like you for a long time. Serena smiled, feeling she was on the right track. Thank you, Leela. And please, call me Sana. Lila nodded, leaving with a smile. Serena leaned back in her chair, allowing herself a moment to process the day. She knew the journey was just beginning, and there was a lot of work ahead. But with each step, each conversation, she felt closer to transforming that space and maybe even the way people viewed the world around them. The clock on the wall showed 6:00 p.m. when Serena left the office and positioned herself discreetly in a corner of the boutique, watching the flow of customers. It was an especially busy evening on October 15, 2026, with new customers coming in constantly. Drawn by a special promotion Serena had implemented to increase traffic and make the boutique more accessible. She wanted to see how the team would handle the diversity of customers now filling the space, from young students to families and professionals of various backgrounds. Serena saw Lila assisting a 26-year-old woman who was clearly excited about the possibility of buying something in the boutique, but seemed hesitant when looking at the price tags. Lila, smiling, guided her patiently, sharing options within her budget and treating her with the same respect as any customer dressed in the most elegant way. Serena felt a growing pride in seeing the changes start to reflect in the service, but she knew the battle was far from won. However, as she observed, Serena noticed Nathan, the veteran employee, in a heated argument with a customer. She moved closer to listen better. What do you mean I can't return this? The customer argued, visibly frustrated. I bought this yesterday, and you told me I could return it within 14 days. Nathan, with his arms crossed and an impassive expression, replied, Sir, for returns we need intact tags and the original receipt. Without them, there's no way to process your request. That's boutique policy. Serena watched the customer leave in a huff, and as Nathan returned to his post, she intercepted him. "Nathan, can we talk for a minute?" Serena asked, keeping a calm tone. Nathan, surprised, nodded and followed Serena to a more private corner of the boutique. "What was that about?" Serena asked, directly but without hostility. "I was just following policy, Serena," Nathan responded defensively. "It's nothing personal." Serena sighed, trying to keep her patience. "Nathan, I know you've been here a long time, and you're used to doing things a certain way, but we need to be flexible. That customer clearly needed more empathetic service. We can find ways to solve problems without creating confrontations." Nathan scratched his head, looking a bit lost. "Serena, I understand what you're trying to do here, but this boutique's always run with clear rules. If we start making exceptions, where does it end?" Serena knew this was the mentality that needed to be broken. She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Nathan, it's not about making exceptions. It's about understanding that each customer has their own circumstances, and we need to be human before we're salespeople. I know what it's like to be treated with indifference and how that can drive a customer away forever." Nathan looked at her, sensing a different weight in Serena's words. "I'm not sure I understand, Serena. What do you mean?" Serena took a deep breath, feeling it was the moment to share more of herself. It was a risky decision, but necessary to truly connect with her team. "When I was a kid, my parents and I would come to the plaza on weekends, not to shop, but just to walk around. I remember what it was like to walk into these luxury boutiques like this one and be treated like we didn't belong. We didn't wear fancy clothes, and my mum worked as a seamstress. There wasn't much money to spend, but she liked looking at the windows and dreaming. And every time we walked into a boutique, we were met with disdainful looks or that tone of voice that says, 'You shouldn't be here.'" Serena paused, the memories vivid in her mind. "I know what it's like to be judged by what you wear, by your appearance, by your background. I grew up with that, and that's what motivated me to make a change." Nathan remained silent, absorbing Serena's words. It was the first time he saw the new owner not just as a successful tech entrepreneur, but as someone who had her own battles and was determined to make a difference. "They never would have imagined," Nathan started, but the words failed him. He scratched his head again, now with a more reflective look. "And that's why I'm here," Serena continued. "It's not just about selling expensive clothes, it's about creating a space where anyone, no matter how they're dressed or where they come from, can feel respected and welcome. And I know you all can be part of that, but I need you to understand why it matters." Nathan nodded slowly, the impact of Serena's words finally beginning to sink in. I understand, Serena. I'll try to see things differently." Serena smiled, giving him a pat on the shoulder. "That's all I ask, Nathan, that we start seeing things through others' eyes." After that conversation, Serena returned to her observation spot, continuing to monitor the service. She felt a mix of pride and hope. Things were changing, but she knew she would still face resistance. The following month, the boutique was in full swing with the inclusion and customer service training. Serena brought in a specialist to lead the sessions, and she herself made a point of participating, showing the team that she was committed to the transformation. During one of these sessions, while the specialist spoke about empathy and the importance of listening to customers, Serena found herself recalling the challenges she faced early in her career. The doubtful looks, the comments questioning her leadership ability because she was a woman and black. She knew she was in a position of power now, but she never forgot where she came from. That was the fuel for her passion for change. After the session, Serena gathered everyone for a final conversation. "I know what we're asking of you is different from what you're used to, but it's a difference that will take us further. I believe in each of you, and I know we can build something amazing together." Leela was the first to applaud, followed by other team members who now seemed more engaged than ever. Serena felt a wave of satisfaction. It was a small but significant step in the right direction. As the team dispersed, Lila approached Serena with a smile. "Serena, I just wanted to thank you. The way you shared your story, it made me feel more connected to what we're doing here." Serena smiled back, feeling the warmth of a quiet victory. "Thank you, Lila. I think we're all learning together." The day ended with a new spirit in the boutique. Serena knew the challenges wouldn't disappear overnight, but she felt confident that with patience and perseverance, they could transform that space into something truly special. As she closed the boutique alongside her team, Serena realized she wasn't just leading a commercial transformation, she was redefining a legacy where everyone could find their place without fear of being judged by what they wore or where they came from. The days following the training were a real test for Serena and her team. The transformation wasn't just about implementing new policies, but also about changing deeply ingrained mindsets. Serena knew that altering a place's culture required more than words and workshops. It demanded daily examples, patience, and above all, consistency. The morning after the training, Serena arrived early at the boutique, determined to closely observe how the team was adapting. The traffic was still slow, typical of the early opening hours, but Serena could see there was a new energy among the employees. Lila was at the reception, smiling at everyone who entered, and Nathan, who had previously shown resistance, now seemed more open, helping customers more patiently. "Good morning, everyone," Serena greeted, smiling as she made her way to the back office. On the way, she noticed a customer who seemed confused while looking at a mannequin with a new set of pieces. She hesitated, looking at the price tag and then at the display window, as if pondering whether or not to come in. Serena approached, standing beside the woman without identifying herself as the owner. "Can I help you with something?" Serena asked gently. The customer, a woman in her 50s dressed in simple clothes, seemed surprised by the friendly approach. "Oh, hi. I was just looking. This outfit looks so beautiful, but I'm not sure if..." She looked at the price tag inside. "Maybe it's not for me." Serena felt a déjà vu from that conversation, as if she was seeing a reflection of the past. She kept her smile. "You know, sometimes a different touch makes all the difference. Why not try it on? We can adjust whatever's necessary to make you feel comfortable and beautiful." The customer hesitated, but Serena's encouragement convinced her. Lila, noticing the interaction from a distance, promptly approached to help, showing the customer to the fitting room and offering some accessory suggestions to complement the look. Serena stepped back a bit, observing with satisfaction as Lila displayed a warm attentiveness, a stark contrast to the boutique's previous atmosphere. However, not everything was going smoothly. In the shoe section, Serena noticed a tense interaction between a 22-year-old employee, Evan, and a customer who was questioning the prices of the sale items. "These prices are ridiculous. A sale should be to sell, not to trick customers," the man complained, shaking a shoebox in his hands. Evan, visibly uncomfortable, struggled to find a suitable response. "Sir, I understand your frustration, but these shoes are from a special line and..." "I don't want excuses," the customer interrupted, throwing the box on the counter. "I want respect for my money." Serena saw the nervous expression on Evan's face and intervened before the situation escalated. "I'm sorry about this, sir. Let's find a solution that works for you," Serena said, her voice calm and firm. She turned to Evan, who seemed relieved that Serena had taken over the situation. Serena guided him with a discreet gesture, showing him how to maintain composure and shift the customer's tension toward a positive solution. After a few minutes of conversation, the customer left the boutique with a smile, and Evan looked at Serena gratefully. "Thanks, Serena. I'm still trying to get used to this new approach. It's a bit tough, you know," Evan admitted, nervously fiddling with his shoelaces. "Oh, don't worry, Evan. Change isn't easy, and making mistakes is part of the process. The important thing is to keep trying and learn from each situation. Remember, empathy is the key to everything here," Serena replied, giving him a reassuring pat on the shoulder. As the day continued, Serena witnessed the ups and downs of a team in transition. Some employees embraced the changes enthusiastically, while others still struggled to let go of old habits. There were moments of progress, but also inevitable slip-ups. Serena knew the journey would be long, but every small victory was a step toward the environment she envisioned. At the end of the day, Serena gathered the team for a brief feedback session. She positioned herself in the center of the boutique, surrounded by employees who seemed more united despite the challenges. "Today, I saw many examples of what we're trying to achieve here, and it makes me very proud," Serena began, making sure to look at each person as she spoke. "I saw people leaving here with smiles. I saw you listening to customers and responding with kindness and patience. I know it's a difficult process, and there will be days when it will be tempting to go back to the old ways of doing things, but stay strong because we're on the right path." She paused, allowing her words to resonate. Nathan, who had been quiet for most of the day, stepped forward. "Serena, I wanted to say that I think I'm starting to get it. Today, for the first time, I felt like I was really making a difference, not just pushing sales. It's a good feeling." Serena smiled, feeling genuine satisfaction. She knew that these small moments of understanding and perspective shift were what truly mattered. "I'm glad to hear that, Nathan, and that's exactly what we want here." She turned to the rest of the team. I want you all to know that you can count on me for anything. I'm here to help you grow, just as I want you to help our customers feel valued." Lila raised her hand, visibly excited. "Serena, I wanted to suggest that maybe we could host a special event for the customers. Something that shows we really care about them, like a brunch with discounts where they can meet the team and understand that we're more than just a boutique with expensive clothes." Serena nodded, her eyes lighting up with the idea. "I love that suggestion, Lila. Let's plan this together and make sure it's a memorable event, something that makes our customers feel like they're part of our family." As the day came to a close, Serena watched as the team began to wrap up the final task before closing the boutique. She knew there was still much to do, but for the first time she felt that the atmosphere was beginning to reflect the values she held dear. That night, as she closed the boutique doors, Serena looked around, satisfied with the progress. There was a long road ahead, but every small gesture from her team gave her the certainty that they were on the right track. The boutique, which had once been a symbol of exclusion and elitism, was now transforming into a space of welcome and respect, and Serena was determined to keep it that way. As she left, the sound of the entrance bell marked the close of another day, but also the beginning of a new chapter. Serena knew that with patience and perseverance, every challenge could be overcome. After all, true transformation didn't happen just with new training or policies, but with genuine changes in attitudes and hearts. And for Serena, this was just the beginning of something much greater. The event suggested by Lila, a special brunch for customers, marked the beginning of a new phase for the boutique. On the day of the event, the team was excited, each fulfilling their roles with an enthusiasm that hadn't been seen before. The tables were set with simple yet elegant arrangements, reflecting the boutique's new spirit, a balance between sophistication and warmth. Serena arrived early to help with the preparations. She moved back and forth, adjusting details and checking that everything was perfect. When the first customers started arriving, she greeted them with a genuine smile, without any distinction between those who were well-dressed and those in more casual attire. It was this naturalness, this absence of judgment that Serena wanted to convey to everyone. Nathan and Lila were at the reception, offering coffee and pastries while chatting with customers about the new collections and changes in the boutique. Evan, now more confident, guided visitors through the sections, showing the items and explaining the promotions in a friendly and approachable manner. Mid-morning, Serena noticed an elderly woman with a cane hesitating at the boutique's entrance. Serena immediately walked over to her, offering her arm to help her inside. "Good morning, ma'am. Can I help you with anything?" Serena asked with a warm smile. The woman smiled back, touched by the gesture. "Oh, my dear, thank you. I just wanted to take a look. It's been so long since I've been in a boutique like this. I always feel a little out of place in these kinds of places." Serena gently squeezed the woman's arm. "Here, everyone is welcome. I want you to feel at home. Come on, let me show you some lovely things we've got." They walked through the boutique together, and Serena made sure to present each piece with the same enthusiasm she would show to a high-spending customer. For Serena, it was essential that everyone felt valued, regardless of their purchasing choices. As the morning progressed, Serena felt that something was changing deeply, not just in the boutique, but also in the people. The team seemed more engaged, the customers more comfortable, and the atmosphere was light without the tensions that once filled the space. Leela approached Serena, her eyes sparkling with satisfaction. "Serena, look around. People are really enjoying themselves. I've never seen a boutique like this before. I think we're finally getting there." Serena nodded, feeling genuine joy. She knew the journey hadn't been easy, but moments like this made it all worthwhile. At the end of the event, Serena gathered the team for a brief meeting. Everyone was visibly tired, but also proud of the work they had done. "I want to thank each of you for your effort and dedication today," Serena began, looking at each face around her. "I know it wasn't easy, and I know many of you had to step out of your comfort zones to make this happen, but I couldn't be prouder. You've not only transformed this boutique, but you've shown everyone that this is a place where every person matters." Nathan, who usually wore a more serious expression, seemed moved. "Serena, I want to apologize for how I acted at the beginning. I was stuck in what I knew, but today, seeing all this, I think I finally understand what you were trying to do." Serena smiled, touched by Nathan's words. "There's nothing to apologize for, Nathan. We're all learning together, and that's what matters. Thank you for being willing to change." Lila, standing next to Nathan, nodded in agreement. "I also want to thank you. For so long, I felt like I was just another salesperson. Today, for the first time, I felt like I was doing something important." Serena took a deep breath, emotional, This was exactly what she wanted to achieve, not just a change in boutique policy, but a change in people's hearts. You are the reason all of this is working. No matter how many good ideas I have, without you, none of this would be possible. The team applauded, and Serena felt the warmth of acceptance and recognition. That boutique, once just a space for commercial transactions, was now beginning to become a symbol of something much greater, a place where people were seen and heard, where respect and empathy were more valuable than any price tag. At the end of the day, as Serena closed the boutique with Lila, they stopped in front of the display window. The city lights reflected on the glass, creating a soft glow that illuminated the carefully arranged pieces. You know, Serena, sometimes I catch myself thinking about how much a boutique can change in such a short time, Lila commented, watching the display with a soft smile. Serena looked at Lila, feeling a strong connection with the young employee. The boutique changed because you all changed. I just gave it a kickstart. Lila nodded, reflecting on Serena's words. I think we all learned that change starts within us, and that's powerful. Serena smiled, satisfied. She felt that she had achieved what she set out to do, but also knew that the journey was just beginning. Each day would bring new challenges, but she was confident that together they could overcome them. Let's keep doing this together, Lila, and who knows, one day this boutique will be known not just for its clothes, but for the impact it made on people's lives. As Serena and Lila walked away from the window, Serena felt a quiet relief, a certainty that she was on the right path. Her mission went beyond selling products. It was about transforming realities, one interaction at a time. Serena knew that by valuing people, she was building a legacy that would last far beyond any commercial success. That night, as she left the plaza, Serena looked back one last time. The boutique shone like a beacon, a promise of a more inclusive and welcoming future. Serena smiled to herself, satisfied with what she had started, but eager for what was still to come. After all, to her, every customer who walked through the door was more than a sale. They were an opportunity to make a difference. And that, Serena thought, was the true victory.